We're flipping cards and making monstrous trades in this episode of Little Big Thumbs. Welcome to Little Big Thumbs, a channel that's all about finding great games that are equally fun for little players and big players. My name is JP, and today we are looking at a game called Monsters Love Vegas, which is for 2 to 8 players and designed by Shipp and will be published by Glass Shoe Games. Judging by the box art of this game, it looks to be a game that promises some rollicking fun on the streets of Sin City. But does it deliver on that promise? We're going to find out the answer to that question before the end of this video. Now, before we jump into the gameplay, I do want to point out that we are looking at a prototype copy of the game, which means that the components, artwork, and maybe even some of the mechanics will be a little bit different by the time it becomes a final product. To set up Monsters Love Vegas, we're going to be laying out the 9 core trade cards in the middle of the table, and from the selection of goal cards, we'll be revealing 3 that are each worth 3, 4, and 5 points. Each player receives a dry erase marker and a player board. We'll each mark our starting resources of 4 poker chips and 3 playing cards, and that's literally all we need to do to be ready to play this game. Gotta appreciate that snappy setup. Now, Monsters Love Vegas is going to take place over 12 turns. And on each turn, every player will be making simultaneous trades using this central 3x3 grid of cards. Before those trades take place, however, we'll be flipping over a turn card. These cards indicate which of the trade cards will be flipped over before trading can begin. Now, I think this is meant to represent the monsters traveling to different casinos and attractions, but the thematic connection, at least on the prototype, isn't immediately clear to me. Each card has a few different trade options, with the outgoing items on the left side and the incoming items on the right. At the start of the game, we only have those chips and cards to trade, but with each passing turn, we'll have access to more and more resources to do more and more trading. Once every player has made exactly 1 trade or marked a pass on their player board, we'll reveal the next turn card, setting the stage for our next round of trades. After the 12th turn card has been revealed and the 12th round of trades have taken place, we'll be at the end of the game and we can move along to scoring. Points are earned for the number of goal cards we've completely fulfilled, as well as the number of poker chips and playing cards we have remaining on our board, some fun combos involving the premium items like the number of funky flamingo cups or sets of matching shorts and jackets that we've collected, and 1 point for every 2 matching basic items. Whoever has the most points at the end of those 12 rounds will be the winner of the game. So, here at Little Big Thumbs, we're all about finding games that are just as fun to play with kids as they are with adults. And so, I want to start by talking about my experience playing Monsters Love Vegas with my kids. More specifically, my 8-year-old Big Bean. Because my younger daughter just wasn't interested in giving this game a try. But playing with my older daughter was a good time. While there are many potential decisions on those trade cards, at the beginning of the game the selection is quite limited since we only have those poker chips and playing cards to offer. And that limited decision space early in the game makes for a pretty straightforward on-ramp to learning how to play. Later in the game, the choices get more and more tricky, but it's still only 12 turns, and the trading itself never gets more complicated, and any long-term plans experienced gamers might make are mitigated by the unpredictability of those turn cards. So this one is quite accessible for young players, but if my 6-year-old daughter is any indication, kids younger than 8 might not be drawn in beyond the colorful box artwork. Now, those same aspects that make for a level playing field with kids might make for a frustrating experience with a group of adults. And that's because of the chaos factor of those turn cards, because it's entirely possible that the last piece of your strategic puzzle simply won't be available for the taking. Of course, once you've played the game a few times, you likely will be able to predict what those last couple of trade cards are going to be, and in that sense, the game rewards players for coming back for multiple plays. From a visual perspective, there is a lot to take in on these trade cards. Almost every new player I introduced this game to was a little bit overwhelmed by the smorgasbord of iconography that's available here. And with that in mind, I do wonder if there's value in having a set of first turn cards that only displays our starting items of poker chips and playing cards, to help with onboarding new players and making that first turn as smooth as possible. But once those first couple of turns have passed, this game is all about trying to find a path to puzzle out a series of trades to build up to the biggest possible payout of victory points. It's not needlessly complicated, but it still offers a nice, healthy dose of interesting decisions. The one thing I'd like to see more of in this game, more than anything else, and since we're dealing with a prototype here, I think there still might be time to make this happen, is those adorable monsters from the game box. At the moment, the story of the game is kind of lost once we begin playing. And for myself, I would like to see something that keeps us connected to this wacky idea of these muppety monsters wandering down the sparkly streets of Sin City. But ultimately, Monsters Love Vegas is a game that's got something to offer for both younger players and seasoned gamers. It's puzzly, light-hearted fun, and I think it shines brightest with both kids and adults at the table. And while we do have those couple of suggestions to maybe add a little bit more polish to the game, it really does line up well with our Little Big Thumbs mission statement. And from that family gaming perspective, we're happy to suggest checking out this game to see if it might be a good fit for you. Check out the links in the description of this video to learn even more about Monsters Love Vegas and their upcoming crowdfunding campaign. Thank you to Glass Shoe Games for letting us borrow their prototype copy of the game to make this video possible, and as always, thank all of you for watching along. We'll be back again soon, and until then, whether you've got little players or big players, make sure that you keep playing games that make your thumbs go way up. Bye for now.